Will the Committee on Budget please come to order? It is Tuesday, June 20 at 9:01 a.m. I would like to welcome our committee members. We have Committee Vice Chair Wire, as well as members Kia Aina, Say, and Tulba. And we don't have any members online via video conference, so I'll continue to move forward to announcements. With that, pursuant to Section 92-3.7, the Hawaii Revised Statutes, this meeting will be conducted as a remote meeting by interactive conference technology with the following procedures in effect for the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda via two ways, remotely and in person in the council chamber. Remote and in-person oral testimony will be allowed when the agenda item is taken up. Before testifying, each person shall state their name. Each person may not have anyone else read their statement and is limited to a 1-minute presentation on each item. All persons who have registered to testify remotely by video conference or phone will be called upon first, and when your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompted. For those who are joining us by telephone only, I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When your number is called, please press *6 to unmute yourself when prompted. I will give persons who have not registered an opportunity to offer testimony. Please utilize the raise hand feature on Zoom to be called upon. Some friendly reminders and tips. Please video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you're also watching the proceedings on Olelo, please mute your television at the time you're called to testify. When the timer on the screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. When all the remote testifiers have testified, I'll proceed to in-person testimony in the council chamber. Persons who have not registered will be given an opportunity to speak following the oral testimonies of the registered speakers. HRS Section 92-3.7 requires all votes at remote meetings to be conducted by roll call unless unanimous. Therefore, I will first call for objections, and if there are any, I will call for a roll call vote. For those council members participating outside of the council chamber, if there are any, I will ask that member to be in accordance with HRS Section 92-3.7, and the meeting will automatically recess if we lose audiovisual contact with that member and will not be able to reconvene until we reestablish contact. So if there is a member online, I will ask them to announce beforehand that they will be voluntarily signing out of the meeting. For written testimony, we have included the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, and that will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, members, please silence or turn off all cell phones. Moving forward to our first item, we have Resolution 23-135, which approves the amendment to the rental agreement for extension on a month-to-month tenancy not to exceed 3 years with tenant Mrs. Lealoha Rocky Kaluhiva within a portion of Heia Kea Valley Park, TMK 4-6-016:032 portion. With that, we have from the City Administration, Director Kawano. Okay. Seeing none. Seeing none, we will proceed with remote testifiers. For remote testifiers for Resolution 23-135, we have Mahelani Cipher from the Ko'olau Foundation. Okay. Excuse me. The testifier is not logged in. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify online? Okay, seeing none, are there any members in person who wishes to testify? Okay, members, seeing none. Oh, okay. Ms. Manaku, please proceed for Resolution 23-135.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. James K. Monaco Sr., concerned parent, grandparent, great-grandparent. Yes, Madam Chair, I'm sorry I missed the thing. You know, I think all of the farmers that we have here in the islands need help. Yeah, and she's just one of them. And I think we need to look at all of our farmers that we have here. You know, one of the things about, see, I'm so sorry I missed what's happening, but what's happening here is that I think, when we have zoning, how can we keep our zoning? Yeah, in Waianae is an example. At one time, when we wanted to raise animals or farm, yeah, we looked for agriculture, yeah, zoning, and now all it takes is somebody to come into our communities and change the zoning. Yeah, when you change the zoning, everything in our lives change. Yeah, so now people have to go out and look for other places. So how can we stop changing our communities and changing the zoning? How can we protect it so our future generations can continue what we're doing? Yeah. So when I look at our farmers and our agriculture, it hurts me because, as you know, I come here as a concerned parent, grandparent, and great grandparent. And if we don't protect our zoning, yeah,
Thank you.
where will we get our food from? Our ancestors were very smart people. They realized that if we don't have food, if we don't grow our own food, yeah, we have to become dependent. As an example, if we look at the television today, we look and we see that the food that's coming from outside of our island, it's not coming in. Yeah, so
Thank
I'm
you.
not sure how we can protect that, but if if you guys can help protect that, would be wonderful. Thank you.
Mahalo. Thank you. Okay, members, we are in discussion now relating to Resolution 23-135. Okay, we have our Council Vice Chair, Kia Aina.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank the administration for supporting this lease extension, and of course to the Kalahiva Ohana for helping to caretake this property. Fully support this measure.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? All right, just to clarify that this is the extension for a month-to-month tenancy, not to exceed 3 years for $600. This is the same amount, and I don't want to say it's routine, but something that remains at the same rate as well. And if there's any questions, I'm certain, although we do not have BFS here, to be able to contact BFS for such information about this as well. Okay? All right. Members, any other discussion, excuse me. Okay, moving forward. Seeing none, the chair recommends that Resolution 23-135 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving forward to item number 2, we have Resolution 23-131, which accepts the gifts valued at $2,576 from AGA for registration fees for 2 employees and hotel accommodations for 1 employee. Registration fee for 2 employees and hotel accommodations for 1 employee to attend the 2023 Professional Development Training in Orlando, Florida from July 23, 26 to 26, 2023. Okay, with us from our city auditor, we have our city auditor, Arushi Kumar.
Aloha, Budget Chair. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Hi, yes. Hi, auditor.
Hi, sorry I can't be there in person today. I'm in Kapolei today. So for this resolution, we have 2 staff members from our office that have been invited to attend the training. The organization is known as AGA now, but they used to be known as the Association for Government Accountants. And they have provided partial scholarships for staff to attend the training.
Thank you. Ms. Kumar, relating to the 1 employee to attend, so it says 2 employees, okay, so registration fee for 2 employees and hotel accommodations for 1 employee. Does that
Yes.
mean the partial scholarship was just for 1 employee and then another employee got like full scholarship time?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
understood. And is there a reason for that, or is just they don't offer full scholarships for employees?
They offered, so it was a competitive scholarship application, and they actually only selected 5 attendees from around the country to get the full scholarship. So one of our staff was only one of 5 members of around the whole country to get the full registration and hotel, and then 1 staff is also getting registration.
Oh, understood. Okay, thank you for that clarification. I didn't realize it was that competitive, actually.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you for that information. Members, are there any questions for our City Auditor, Arushi Kumar? Okay, okay, so hearing none, we'll move forward. Thank you to our auditor, to remote testifiers. We don't have any registered remote testifiers in person or online, but is there anyone online who wishes to testify beside our city auditor? Okay, anyone in person who wishes to testify? Okay, seeing none. Members, we are in discussion. Any questions still for our auditor? Okay, I have a question to our auditor. So when members get these scholarships, do they have to report back like how we have to report back as well? And how do we get to see that? Is it posted on the auditor website? And I know that you have on Twitter too. So where do we get to see all that?
Yeah, so at this time, we have internal updates. You know, our staff that come back from these trainings share internally what they have learned. We do internal trainings and provide sharing information that was provided at these conferences. At this time, we don't share that externally, but if that's something the budget committee would like to see moving forward, I'm happy to provide that because we have been getting quite a few gift scholarships to attend these conferences, and I'm very proud of our staff that they have been getting these scholarships. So I can share that information more widely.
Okay, thank you very much. Mahalo. Okay, members, we're still in discussion. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Okay, thank you to our auditor. The chair recommends that Resolution 23-131 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving to item number 3. We have Resolution 23-133 to accept the gift valued at $3,500 from the I don't know how to say this, I'm sorry, Municipal People's Government for the Director of Budget and Fiscal Services to attend the Bond with Kuliang 2023 China-U.S. People-to-People Friendship Forum in Fuzhou, China from June 27 to 29, 2023. And with us from our city administration, we have Director Kawano. Or not. Okay. Okay, well, let's see here. Hi, Director Kwano. We're talking about the gift to Fuzhou, China.
Good morning, Budget Chair Cadero, Chair Waters, Vice Chair Kiaina, Honorable Council members, Andy Kawano, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services. So we're talking about the gift. So the trip will be a sister city related trip focusing on friendship between the United States and China. And Chief of Staff and I will be going to Fuzhou, China, which is just south of Shanghai, to meet with and share cultural information and work on friendship, you know, with the government there.
Okay, thank you. Director Kano, what is our status with Fuzhou? Is it friendship city, sister city? What's our current relationship?
It's a sister city relationship program that we're involved with them, and I believe their contingent actually visited, I think 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
We bumped into them. Uh, Robert Yu, who oversees OTS, actually was taking them around Honolulu Hale. And they went to the mayor's office to just go inside of the office. I don't know if mayor was there to take pictures and to basically walk through, the grounds here.
oh, that's good to hear because I know that me and my staff last week were just looking at our sister cities and looking at the activeness, and so it's good to hear that first off that they visited us as well as are keeping up with the activities. I know that the past few years we didn't get to have that type of activity, so that's understandable. But members, are there any questions for Director Kawano? Director Kawano's not going to be with us from June 27 to 29.
Yeah, hope to come home.
Oh my gosh, please come home. Okay. All right. Any other questions relating to this gift? No. Oh, no. Okay. All right. Moving forward to registered testifiers. Okay. I don't see any registered testifiers, and either in person or online. But I think we have Angela Melody Young, who raised her hand to testify.
Yes, Chair. Thank you. Aloha, Budget Committee and Chair, Vice Chair, and the other council members. Angela Melody Young testifying in strong support of the gift. So Fuzhou, I think it's Fuzhou, is a sister city since 2021, and Haikou was the earliest Honolulu sister city from 1985. To strengthen diplomatic relations with the sister cities is ideal, especially in a chaotic world where we're experiencing civil wars, resulting in casualties and displacement. Drug wars are also another form of conflict that can result in violence and unrest, and much of this we are experiencing throughout the world. So it is good instead to focus on strengthening diplomatic relationships to create stable economic relations on the basis of mutual trust. It is also important for both countries to learn through a constant dialogue what are the common interests of both countries, and to take the attitude of speaking frankly and directly to each other, and of making concessions where they should be made. So these are from the words of the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs of Japan. In the economic field, the big trade imbalance between Japan and the United States has been rapidly improving since the turn of 1973, with 1972 as a peak. Japan and China are good alliances from the Asia Pacific.
Mahalo, Angela. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify? Okay. Seeing none. Members, we are in discussion, and we can also allow for questions for our city administration. Any questions? Okay, moving forward then, the chair recommends that Resolution 23-133 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving forward to agenda item number 4, we have Resolution 23-119, which accepts the gifts valued for a total up to $5,900 from the AGA and AGA Hawaii Chapter of Transportation. I think it's 4 transportation, lodging, and registration fees for 2 employees to attend the AGA's professional development training in Orlando, Florida from July 23 to July 26, 2023. And with us from the city administration, we have Director Kawano.
Good morning again, Budget Chair Andy Kawano, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services. These types of educational programs put on and professional conferences put on by the Association of Government Accountants provides valuable training, learning, networking with other financial accountants, financial analysts, budget staff of other municipalities and I think is an outstanding way for our employees to grow and to continue to develop their skills and appreciation for finances. It's very important to us, and we appreciate what all of our staff contribute in under budget and fiscal services.
Okay, thank you, Director Kawano. I have a question relating to something similar that I asked our city auditor, because it's the same conference or convention or training, yeah? So for the staff that are going from the city administration, is it just as competitive to get such scholarships across the nation like it was for our city auditor?
Oh yeah, it is. So typically the city or municipality is evaluated to determine if they are qualified to be able to send staff to these conferences. And fortunately, we qualify, and we receive donations to send our staff to these conferences annually. It's been, since I've been around, we've sent a few every year.
That's good.
Except for the COVID lockdown period.
Understood. And then during that, in relation to how far we are, because right, you're going to Orlando. Not you. I won't say you, but like whoever is attending the training, they probably have to receive a higher amount of scholarship than someone who is on the continental U.S. Yeah. So do they evaluate that per year and per state and per distance?
Yeah, I believe the Association of Government Accountants will do evaluations on convention sites, and they move around. They don't always have it in Florida, but my understanding is that they move around and they negotiate best cost based on where the attendees are coming from. So, that's their kuleana. We don't get involved in determining the sites that are selected for these conferences.
Understood. But does that hurt, because we are so far away, does that hurt our chances of our city and county of Honolulu government employees receiving a scholarship because we are so far away?
I don't believe it does. I can ask staff who have been around longer, that have been in management roles and provide more information to you at our next meeting. But to my knowledge, we get a fair share of invites.
And my last question, the similar question that I asked to our city auditor, is the reporting back reporting back from these trainings internal as well, like how the auditor's one is, or is it put up on the BFS or respective department's website for us to see, or does it get transmitted to the council, or how does that work?
Currently, all of our BFS travelers that go to these conferences, they submit a summary of what they experienced, what they learned, what they can share with other staff in their departments. And there's typically an internal memo that they submit once they return from training or a conference.
Okay, understood. So pretty similar to our city auditor. Okay, thank you very much. Members, any questions for Director Kawano? And relating to this AGA gift and scholarship to the training. Okay, thank you, Director. Now we'll move forward to remote testifiers. We don't have any registered remote testifiers, but is there anyone else who wishes to testify online or in person? Seeing none, members, we are back in discussion. Any discussion items or questions relating to this item? Agenda number 4, item number 4. Okay. Seeing none, the chair recommends that Resolution 23-119 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving forward to agenda item number 5, we have Resolution 23-128, requesting the city administration to provide the council with reports of overtime use and I can't even say this, compensatory time off authorized by each executive city department. This was introduced by our Councilmember Calvin Say. If I would like to have him speak to this before I call up the budget director. Okay, Councilmember Say.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The idea behind this resolution is just to get a status report of overtime payments by the city and county of Honolulu. The question would be, can the savings that we do in the future as far as overtime offset our cash balance for the future years out? And that was the objective. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, this is Resolution 23-128. And okay, we have Director Kawano with us to speak on the administration's take on this resolution and reporting.
Good morning, Budget Chair, Honorable Council Members, Chair Waters, Vice Chair Kiana. Yeah, with regard to the reporting, when Councilmember Say was Budget Chair, we worked with Councilmember Say, his staff, and provided reporting templates that we feel that would work. So we have templates ready to go. We also acknowledge at the importance to manage overtime, and we are ready to support to provide information council needs to work with us on evaluating and controlling overtime.
Thank you. Members, any questions? I have a question. It does say that to allow for the following information or meet the following requirements, which, and if I may read for the public, and once again, this is Resolution 23-128. I'm really glad that our council member Say has been able to bring this to the forefront as well as working with the city administration. But I just want to make sure that the city administration is able to provide this information and already follows these guidelines. To one, the aggregate number of overtime hours used by department employees and the dollar amount of overtime pay expended relative to the amount that was appropriated for overtime pay for the department of for the fiscal year. 2, the reasons for the use of overtime authorized by the department. 3, the aggregate number of hours of compensatory time off accrued and used by department employees. 4, the reasons for the granting of such compensatory time off. And 5, having the report due no later than 10 business days following the end of each fiscal quarter, commencing with the second quarter of fiscal year 2024. And that the city administration is requested to provide the council with an annual calendar year report of overtime hours by month for each executive city department. And of course, there's certain requirements. Any feedback on that? And are you ready and able to do that?
Yeah, I think we have, as I mentioned, the reporting templates ready to go. There are some constraints, though, I have to tell you about. Our payroll is 2 times a month, so 1st to the 15th and then 16th through the end of the month. The actual pay for each pay period is paid the following pay period. So if we stick with this 10 business days reporting requirement at the end of each month, we would have to do the reporting on payroll process dates. So what I'm getting to is that let's say we're at the end of June. By July 10th, we would be reporting on the pay period June 1st through June 15th. That would be the last pay period covered. It would be the last payroll paid for the month. So it wouldn't be in complete alignment, with the month ended. If council members want payroll based on the pay period that's covered by a certain month, we would ask for 30 days after month end to get the report out. So if you want, for instance, overtime based on payroll covered for the first half of June and second half of June, because payroll for the second half of June is not paid till mid-July, we would ask that we have till the end of July to get the report out. Otherwise, we can work towards this 10 business days requirement.
Okay, thank you. I mean, if I can maybe take off my chair hat, but as a regular council member, state that I think with that understanding, I think it's perfectly fine because we do know that it does take that maybe 2 full pay periods to be able to get that. So with the report of 10 days after, understanding that it will be for maybe 1 or 2 pay periods before, I think it's okay. And that's just mine as a single council member. So, okay, putting my chair back hat on. Members, any questions or thoughts about that type of reporting and that consideration? No? Okay, I just wanted to share my standpoint there. Okay, seeing none. Okay, we have Councilmember Say.
Yes, Mr. Kawano, maybe you can explain to me, will there be savings with our Honolulu Police Department with their 3-day work week? I'm just trying to figure out, we're looking for ways to fill vacant positions, but also provide the public service. The article that I saw about now police officers have a 3-day work week. Am I correct in what I'm stating for the record? Versus a 5-day, like the normal 5 days that most city employees have. So I'm just trying to figure out, are we going to be saving money, or because of the shortage of warm bodies, they had to go through this 3-day work week?
Yeah, I really believe, and I think this question is really for HPD, administration, but I think to make the largest dent in saving on overtime, we need to staff up. I think that's the most important thing to do. I haven't seen data to determine if a 3 or shorter work week for officers results in better management of time, overtime specifically. So I can't answer that question, but I would think that job one would be to fill the vacancies, focus on that.
One final. So, Director Kono, my next question is simply put, the fiscal year will be ending in a week and a half. By then, I think maybe the chair of the council and the chair of budget will look at what were the overall savings tied to the increase of filling our vacancies. That would be interesting for me, because then I would know that for each of the departments that there were vacancies, we are filling it, which is a great and positive step forward. So that's what I'm trying to correlate. As we fill the positions, overtime will be less and less, etc. That's something to consider, but I just bring it up because, in anticipation for what may be next year, just have to prepare ourselves. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, any other discussion? Okay, we have Council Chair Waters.
Thank you. Good morning, Director. I'd imagine that overtime is used because of the massive amount of vacancies currently in the city, right?
Yes.
But I think what Councilmember says might be getting at is that what is more efficient and or economical, to pay overtime or to fill the positions?
Our belief, I actually talked to our BFS administration staff about this. Sometimes overtime for a short period of time, where there's a spike, a need for more service is okay. Over a long period of time, excessive overtime is not good for the city. It not only drives cost up, we have other longer-term issues. People get burned out, for instance, if they work too much overtime over long periods of time. And then, we have the spiking issue for pension for those employees hired before June 2012. And, that creates the excessive pay caused by overtime, premiums, if they have to work nighttime and all of that, results in excessive pay above, the base amount that's in statute or computed based on a formula by statute, and, will result in costs to the city over a long period of time, right? So we not only have a spiking payment we have to make, it increases pension benefits that can be, above the norm in some cases. So I think over a long period of time, too much overtime is not good for the employee, not good for the city financially. But if we need to schedule overtime for short periods of time, for events, for spikes requiring more service, it can be okay. It's probably okay, and it's something that we need. I don't know if I answered your question
No, that's
well enough,
perfect.
but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad you're thinking about that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. Also, I have no problem with giving the director more time to complete what's requested. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for that note. I am open, for the reporting, but of course that can be worked out beyond the resolution as well. And I would like to maybe defer to the introducer of the resolution, Councilmember Say.
Madam Chair, after listening to Director Kawano, maybe this particular resolution could be deferred since the templates are already in place. And for
Okay.
those members who want to see what the figures are for overtime by departments, they can make that request individually.
Okay. Or we can have that as a discussion in our committee as well. Okay, understood. Members, any other comments or thoughts on this? Since, as the introducer of the resolution mentioned, and as well as our director, there are templates available. Given more time, there is a possible need for more time for reporting. And if anything, as we get closer to the beginning of the next calendar year, we can discuss how the outlook has been for the current or last fiscal year that we are in right now. Okay? All right. Okay, I'll take that into consideration, but we'll move on to registered testifiers. Thank you. Okay, we don't have any registered testifiers remote or online. However, I would like to note that I could hear Angela Melody Young.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and the Budget Committee, Angela Melody Young, testifying in strong support. And of course, I want to thank Councilmember Radiant. It's her first time doing the budget. I think she did great work. And about the reporting, testifying in strong support, according to the USA.gov, in the Jobs, Labor Laws, and Unemployment section of the wage laws, it talks about overtime pay. The Fair Labor Standards Act gives people the right to earn overtime pay. The Department of Labor Wages and Hour Division enforces this right. Employers must pay overtime if they are covered non-exempt employees, or if they work more than 40 hours during a work week. And the overtime rate must be at least 1.5 times the amount of the usual pay rate. The employer must pay the overtime rate for the extra hours worked. And then more information can be found from the Department of Labor. It may be a little different for government employees, but I think this is just like a guideline from the Department of Labor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela, for that insight. Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to testify? Okay, seeing none, moving forward. We are back in discussion, members. Back in discussion. Okay, Council Chair Waters.
I do understand what the introducer is saying, but I do want to encourage, if you are going to defer this, that each chair of the subject matter committees, whether it be parks, enterprise services, community services, or planning and zoning, that you actually do request this information and have a hearing on this if the numbers are spiking. That's just my manao. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Members, any other discussion? Okay, thank you. You know, I actually really wanted to pass this out, but I would like to respect the discussions that the introducer of the resolution and the budget chair has had. And if we okay, we're still in discussion, but I'm still, first off, I was going to pass it out, but if we get to a point where maybe we can look at the reporting and requirements, we can have this in my committee again, and then pass this out accordingly, or if not necessary, I can discuss that with the council member Say.
Madam Chair, may I pass the baton to Director Kawano? What does he want us to do?
Okay, we are still in discussion. We would like to call up the director of the Department of Budget and Fiscal Services. The question is relating to the resolution. What is your take on the reporting requirements plus in relation to passing it out now versus maybe amending the requirements later?
Okay, so based on what I've been listening to, I would suggest that it's a suggestion for council members to consider. We do a briefing, and we walk through what we have, the reports that we have, and share the information we're going to provide, any constraints that we're able to bring up based on data. The fact that from time to time, we may have to follow up directly with departments if there are, variances, and the impact of timing, and have a discussion. And at that time, council members can decide whether they want the report on a regular basis or on a as-needed basis.
Okay.
That's my suggestion.
Thank you. Members, any discussion? Okay, I also have a request because I mentioned I was going past this out, but since it looks like my decision will be to defer, I would like to possibly include this into the either executive summary or in the performance metrics, possibly, that is presented in the budget books, in the executive operating budget books. If that may be easier, we can have that discussion offline. But I'm just trying my best to listen to all the discussion that we've had today and seeing what may work for not just you coming here before us, but all the departments that do have to do the reporting. So with that, thank you. Okay, moving forward to my motion. The chair recommends that Resolution 23-128 be postponed to a date and time to be determined by the chair. Any discussion? Okay. Any objections, reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Thank you, everyone, for that great discussion. I really appreciate that so much. Okay. Moving forward to agenda item number 6, we have Resolution 23-123. Oh, wow. Resolution 23-123, authorizing the Director of Budget and Fiscal Services to issue and sell in one or more series not to exceed $110 million principal amount of general obligation bonds of the City and County of Honolulu for financing the amounts appropriated in certain capital budget ordinances of the City and County of Honolulu specified in such capital budget ordinances. With us from the City Administration, back up again, we have Director Kawano.
Thank you, Budget Chair. Thank you for reviewing this resolution. It's the resolution to approve the maximum sale amount of our bond issuance for this, I call it the standard round of issuances we do in August, targeted for August. It's for $110 million. The proceeds will be used for general government CIP purposes.
Okay, thank you. And Director Kawano, can you explain general government CIP? It's basically...
So capital improvement projects for all of the city's functional areas. So essentially departments. So whether it's for police, fire, parks, facilities maintenance, and so on, that's the focus for this issuance.
Okay, thank you. Members, Any questions for Director Kawano relating to this bond issuance? Issuance sale of bonds? Nope. Okay. All right. Council Chair Water.
Good morning again. Do you know how much, for example, we're gonna use for parks, just as an example, out of this 110,000?
I think the FD1 total, it's combined. It's not broken out, but it was somewhere around $50 to $60 million. So it's parks and it's for
Is land management in there too?
no, it's cultural and it's for instance, the Neil Blaisdell Center, and it includes a zoo. It includes DES, if you will, but they're grouped together. But just parks, we don't have a subtotal in the bill, just for park, CIP. But I would say maybe $50 million for parks in total.
Okay. Would it be possible to get that information offline, if you could provide
Yeah,
it to the
I can
committee?
get it to you. I can give you more of a breakdown by department.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. That's a great question. And can you submit it to the council as a communication so that it will go to not just the budget committee or the council chair, but for everybody, because that affects all of us. Members, any other discussion, questions for the budget director relating to this? And we look forward to that information. Okay, moving forward to remote testifiers. We don't have any registered remote. We don't have any registered in-person testifiers. But is there anyone else who wishes to testify online or in person? Seeing none, members, we're back in discussion. Any further questions for our budget director, Kawano? Okay, we have Councilmember Say.
Director Kawano, this is just a thought. Is it possible that if the interest rates are too high that you won't float the bonds?
Should yeah, absolutely. Should something happen between now and August, when we actually sell the bonds,
Yes.
that drives interest rates, above what we're projecting? The underwriter always projects our cost, our total in costs for bond issuance. But if it's way out of line, typically we would either reschedule the sale or take a step back and reassess what would be the best thing to do at that point in time.
Okay, just that I think.
Because we have a budget, in terms of what we project the cost to be. So we have a marker as to where we think we should end up. Yeah.
Okay, just that the concern would be just the debt service. Because if the interest rates are higher, your debt service is going to be higher. That takes away from our general fund as far as the repayment, right? So just concerned about that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? We're still in discussion. Okay, seeing none. Members, the chair recommends that resolution 23-123 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving forward, agenda item number 7, we have resolution 23-139, which approves the city and county of Honolulu sell a non-exclusive perpetual easement to the Hawaiian Electric Company Incorporated for electrical purposes not related to the Honolulu Rail Transit Project for over 2 properties located at 1163 Kona Street and 1174 Waimanu Street, Honolulu, Hawaii 96814, identified as tax map keys numbers 123007039 and 123007036. Members, we will be amending the resolution to require that HART provide the council with a copy of the purchase and sales agreement for the easements prior to the execution of the agreement. This is going to be a verbal amendment made by myself so that we get the sales agreement copy, okay? And so I'll be talking about that later. But with us, oh, you're already up there. Okay. Not even done talking. Our Executive Director for Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation. Okay, we have Lori
morning.
Kahikina.
Good morning, Lori Kahikina, Executive Director and CEO of HART. Good morning, Chair and Council members. I'm actually going to pass this over to my Director of Transit Property and Acquisition and Relocation, Krista Lunzer, for the explanation.
Good morning. I'm Krista Lunzer, Director of Transit Property Acquisition and Relocation for HART. Today we're here to talk about the sale of 2 easements for non-project purposes to the HECO. Next slide, Joey. Yes, please. This is an overview of the 2 properties that HART has acquired. The total cost to HART was $4.4 million for the 2 properties. Currently, they're being used for laydown yard for our CCUR3 contractor. The properties were acquired using HART funds. Next slide, please. The part of the map in blue and in red shows HART's need for the property. The blue portion is for a HECO undergrounding for relocation of utilities. The red area is for where the guideway will cross over those properties. HECO approached HART and asked if they could purchase the area in green for their own purposes. The need for the easement for HECO is to install underground 25 kV electrical circuit within the properties. It's unrelated to our rail project. This will increase HECO's capacity to provide power for proposed housing development in the Kaka'ako area. The intended use of the easement does not conflict with HART's needs. HART and HECO entered into a memorandum of understanding for the purchase of the easements, whereby HECO is responsible to reimburse HART for all costs associated with obtaining approvals for the easements. In addition, HECO will pay $2,970,000. That's not right. $2,097,500 for the easements, as determined by an appraisal performed in accordance with the Uniform Act. Next slide. In addition to the agreed upon compensation, HECO will install HART's infrastructure as shown in the yellow highlighted area. So they have agreed to install HART's infrastructure, which will save us approximately $2.5 million. Additionally, they will pay to relocate HART's contractor out of the area in green when they start construction. The underlying property was acquired for the use and benefit of HART for purposes of the rail. As such, it's necessary for the City Council to approve the sale of the easement rights to HECO. The HART Board of Directors passed the necessary resolution on May 11th, approving and recommending to the City Council the sale of the easements. The requested sale does not conflict with HART's use of the property, and approval of the resolutions will allow the Executive Director of HART to execute the necessary documents to complete this transaction. All funds received will be deposited into the transit fund as required by the charter. And I'm available to answer questions.
Okay, thank you. Members, are there questions for Ms. Lunzer? We have Council Vice Chair Kiaina.
Thank you for your presentation. I just want to make sure I understand the origin of the properties that you guys purchased in fee simple for $3 million for one parcel and 1.4 for another. Was that private property before?
I'm sorry?
Was that private property before? It says here on page 2.
Yes, it was.
Okay. And are you selling it for 2.0975?
We're selling easements, so HART will still have the fee interest to the property, but HECO will have an easement over the a portion of the property.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you.
I just had to ask the land tenure because in general, I have concerns over the county or state and federal governments selling our public land trust, of course, right? But for circumstances that, like remnant parcels, for example, and so I just need to ask that question.
Yes.
Because it's part of the larger public land trust, and Native Hawaiians still have claims to that public land trust. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any other questions for Ms. Lunzer? Okay, we will be able to go back into discussion after. Okay, so members will go to registered testifiers. Is there any Okay, seeing there are no registered testifiers, is there anyone else online or in person who wishes to testify on Resolution 23-139? Okay, members, we are back in discussion. Are there any questions for Ms. Lenzer or the Executive Director and CEO of HART? Okay, Council Chair Waters and then Councilmember Say.
Oh, Councilmember Say can go first.
Okay, Councilmember Say, followed by Council Chair Waters.
Crystal,
Ms. Lenzer.
when we sell the easement, the public easement to HECO, would it have been wiser that we come up with a lease agreement for the public easement with a percentage of their sale of electricity? I want you to make money for the city. Because you're saying that HECO wants it primarily because we're going to be having more and more development. And the more and more development means a lot more consumption of energy. So I'm saying to myself, like in real estate, I'll give you the easement. This is the lease agreement that we have on the easement. That's one. And number two, a percentage of the increase in their sale of electricity in Kaka'ako.
We did talk about those things when we went before the board, and I think it was decided that that type of transaction would not be best suited for HECO's need of the property. Typically, when the utility needs to put facilities on a property, it is done by way of an easement and not on a continually income stream. It was something we talked about, but it was not something that was decided.
Okay, and the other point, let me share this for you, is that last year when we had the State of Hawaii Energy Office and the alternative energy companies using agricultural classification lands for industrial purposes, the city got the short end of the stick, meaning we could not assess their operations on agricultural zone lands as industrial. So I'm just saying, hey, let's have a fair and equitable solution to all of these issues that this council is addressing. And for HECO, I don't know, I believe they're making a lot of money, but just wanting to see how we could generate some revenue source on a continual basis for the out years. And I thought maybe that would be a concept we could use. Grant them the lease, public easement lease with the flat fee plus a percentage of the energy that is going into the Kaka'ako area. But I just bring this up for thought at this point in time. But thank you very much for deliberating it with the board.
Thank you.
Okay, Council Chair Waters.
Thank you. Just some background questions. So we acquired the property for $4.4 million. Was that through, when we say we, meaning HART, was that through eminent domain?
I don't believe eminent domain was actually used on either one of those parcels, so it was a negotiated transaction.
Price? Okay. And then we are selling the easement to HECO for approximately a little over $2 million, right?
That's correct.
And then you said there was another figure that we're going to generate revenue from.
So we're not actually generating additional revenue. However, HART is saving construction costs because HECO is installing our infrastructure on those two parcels as well. So we've estimated what our contractors would charge if they were going to install that infrastructure, and that amount is about $2.5 million.
So in a sense, we're sort of coming out above what the $4.4 million that we paid for.
In a sense, we are.
So what's going to go there? Well, eventually, when the skyline, now that we know the name, gets to Ala Moana.
Can you go back one?
Just curious. This is parcel 36 and 39.
Correct. So if you look at the colored map, the one with the red and the blue, Joey.
Yeah.
So if you look at where the red is, that's actually where the guideway transitions from Waimanu Street up to Kona Street. So it actually crosses over those two properties. So the buildings and the infrastructure that was on those properties was in the way of our guideway. And so Hart acquired those two properties mainly to secure the area we needed for that. And then we also at the same time need to be able to transition the utilities from Waimanu up to Kona, and it will run through that same area. So those were both needs when we acquired those properties.
Okay, and it's currently used as a lay-down yard. What is a lay-down yard?
So the contractors use it to store their equipment, and I believe there's an on-site office coming and goings from that area for one of our contractors.
Okay, and this area, would that be in phase 3 of the whole entire Hart project?
This is actually beyond the scope of the amended scope of the rail. So once we do continue to build past Civic Center to Ala Moana, it's in that area.
And this power line that HECO is going to be installing, that's benefiting HCDA and the buildings that are coming up as part of HCDA, or is it part of the TOD plans that the council has approved?
It's my understanding that it's part of TOD development.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, any other questions? We are still in discussion. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Lenzer.
Thank you.
Okay, members, we did testimony already, so we are now in discussion and moving forward to the CD1 that I mentioned earlier, the verbal amendment that I mentioned at the very beginning of the start of this item, where the chair recommends that Resolution 23-139 be amended to a CD1, which requires that Hart provide the council with a copy of the purchase and sales agreement for the easement prior to the execution of the agreement. Any discussion? I have a discussion for maybe Ms. Lenzer relating to this CD1. Were you able to hear the request from the council or the budget committee?
Yes, I was.
And will that be possible? It doesn't have to be signed or anything. It just a copy of the agreement, the sales agreement.
That is possible. May I get clarification as to whether that's for approval or just for review?
Just for review and just attachment to the documents that we have. We can still approve out of this committee without it.
Yes, that is possible.
And my next question is relating to the sales agreement. Do we have a timeline for the sale?
I believe both parties would like to do it as soon as possible. So because of that, I think it will be a simple purchase and sales agreement that will be brought together. And then we'll move to close on the transaction as quickly as possible.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay, any objections to the amendment to the CD1? Okay, any reservations? The resolution has been amended to a CD1. The chair then recommends that Resolution 23-139 CD1 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving forward to agenda item numbers 8 and 9. I say 8 and 9 because they are jointly related. So members will be taking up agenda items number 8 and 9 together and hear a presentation from Hart. It is on our communications folder on H&L Docs as Departmental Communications 046. And the actions for the items will then be taken up individually, okay? All right, so kicking it over to our Executive Director and CEO of Hart, Lori Kahikina.
Yep. Thank you for the record, CEO and Executive Director of Hart. This has been a long time coming. We have our partners here, IEX here, if you folks have questions, but we would really appreciate if the council would approve this, what we're putting in front of you. So I'm going to pass it off to Krista Lenzer again.
Okay, thank you. And I would like to correct myself. My eyes went cross-eyed. I put Departmental Communication 46, but it's Departmental Communications 406. 406.
Good morning. We're here to request approval to sell the property located at 2613 YY Loop back to its original owner, International Express Incorporated. The property is located next to the Lagoon Drive station. The property was needed for placement of a guideway column and to allow space for the station canopy. It's located there, highlighted in blue. In addition to our request for approval to sell the property back to IEX, we're requesting approval to grant them an access easement, easement C. I'm sorry, Joy, back up one, please. Easement C there on the right side over Lagoon Station parcel to increase their access to their parcel. The Honolulu Rail Transit Project required the acquisition of a portion of the IEX property for placement of a column and station canopy overhang. The column placement was determined to significantly impede IEX's use of the property. Therefore, a full acquisition of the property was negotiated, and that closed on January 5th of 2016 for $5,936,000. The acquisition was compliant with the Uniform Act and with FTA requirements. IEX has remained on the property since the acquisition. They had a difficulty with finding a replacement location to move its business operations and expressed an interest in remaining on the property. After the acquisition of the property, it was determined that a redesign of the column location and an access easement over the neighboring property would minimize the impact to IEX's business operations. Hart and IEX entered into negotiations to sell the property back to IEX. These negotiations have been ongoing since 2018. In mid-2022, Hart and IEX were able to agree to terms of the transaction. An appraisal of the property was completed in 2019 that was compliant with the URA and FTA regulations. The appraised value of the property was determined to be $6.4 million. This is the sales price of the property to IEX. The FTA has approved the sale of the property back to IEX for this price. As additional information to the council, the terms of the sale includes a credit to the purchase price at closing for an amount that will settle claims that IEX has against Hart. In connection with the sale of the property, IEX will provide Hart with easements necessary for a guideway column and overhead canopy, and Hart will provide an access easement over the neighboring property. The funds received from the sale of the property will be deposited into the transit fund as required by the charter. Per the terms of the charter, Hart can recommend to the council that sale of the property can recommend to the council sale of the property that it controls. The Hart Board of Directors passed the necessary resolution on May 11th of 2023 approving and recommending to the council the sale of the property to IEX. The requested sale does not conflict with Hart's use of the property. Therefore, we request council to approve the sale and grant the necessary access easements. Approval of the resolution will allow the Executive Director of Hart to execute the necessary documents to complete the transaction. I'm available for questions.
Okay, thank you. I have one question before I move to the members. Are both resolutions, 23-138 and 137, required to complete the settlement with IEX?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have Council Vice Chair Kia Aina.
Thank you again for this presentation. I want to better understand. So you're buying it at fair market value, but is the reason they are not paying for easement access, is it because of their claims, the settlement? And what was the dollar amount for the settlement of the claims? I'm just wondering why they're not paying for the easement.
So the easement is part of the negotiations, and because they are granting easements back to Hart for the canopy and the column, those two easements were both valued and they're about the same, so they kind of washed each other out.
Yeah, I mean, there's no description of that, of the settlement or anything in this PowerPoint, so how would I know?
So the settlement is still considered private and not part of public information.
I know, but I guess it's hard for me to understand. You're just telling me that, but I had to ask for it. So, okay, so you're telling me that in addition to us providing easement access after we're selling it only for fair market value, you're telling me that the easement that they provide to us in return is the reason we are not having them pay for their easement rights? I'm trying to better understand that.
Yes, so, and I'm sorry, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I do believe the easements to IEX had a value of, I want to say about $40,000. The access easement was determined to be very similar. So those two things were pretty much a wash and not considered to be extra compensation.
Okay, and then with regard to the settlement of claims, what were the claims against us?
Okay, so it appears that we will need to go into executive session. Members, are there any objections to resolving into an executive session?
Actually, no, I'm okay. I just wanted to find out. I just want to make sure that we're getting a fair deal here. That was all. You answered my question with regard to the reciprocal easements that each of the parties will have, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I just didn't know how the dollar amount for their settlement claims against us had factored in here, so that was unclear to me, but I'm okay.
Okay, okay.
And I can provide a general overview if it helps a little bit, just to say that the claims resulted from actions of the relocation that started but did not actually get implemented. And so those were the claims came out of relocation actions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Wait. Okay. All right. Members, any other questions for Krista Lenzer? Okay. Members, we also have representatives from IEX here as well, available for any questions. And their testimony is included for both resolutions in communications M325. M325. Any questions for IEX? Okay, seeing none. Seeing none. Any other questions for Hart? We're going to have to, I'm going to take up testimony for resolution 23-137 and 138 together, and then we're going to do actions separately. Just wanted to make sure everyone knows. Okay. Any registered, we don't have any registered or remote testifiers, do we? Okay, but is there anyone else who wishes to testify? No? Okay. Okay. All right. This is, members, we are back in discussion for both items. This is in my district and have been both as a current member, but also as a former staff member, has been very aware of the concerns from IEX, as well as their dealings with HART as well, and have seen and reviewed the discussions at the HART board as well. So I am glad that we are finally at this point where we are right now, and I guess that's my discussion. Okay, so members, we're still in discussion. Any questions? Oh, okay, all right. I guess your presentation was very well done. Okay, now we will take up each item, okay? Bear with me, everyone. For Resolution 23-137. Any discussion before I make my motion for this? Okay. The chair recommends that Resolution 23-137 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Okay, moving forward. Item number 9. Okay, that's Resolution 23-138. The chair recommends that Resolution 23-138 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any last questions? She's here. No. Okay. Any reservations, objections? Okay, the resolution, wait, excuse me. The resolution has been reported out for adoption. Moving forward to agenda item number 10, Resolution 23-122. This authorizes the Department of Budget and Fiscal Services to issue and sell in one or more series not to exceed $20 million principal amount of general obligation bonds of the City and County of Honolulu for financing the amount appropriated in Ordinance number 22-14 of the City and County of Honolulu for purpose of financing capital costs of the Honolulu Rail Transit Project. With us from the administration, we have Director Kawano.
Budget Chair, Honorable Council Members, Andy Kawano again, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services. This resolution is our request to Council to allow us to issue bonds up to a maximum of $20 million to cover the city's subsidy to rail construction for fiscal year 2023.
Okay, sorry. Any questions for the budget director relating to this? Okay, my question is, in the ordinance, it has a certain amount, and then for this, it has 20 million. Would you be able to explain a little bit more, explain a little bit higher?
The little higher, yeah. So our underwriters recommend adding a cushion over the par amount. So the amount that we had to borrow was $17 million. Because we're selling bonds to the public and because of, this current situation in the market, they recommended that we ask for a little more in case we have to sell the bonds with a premium. So that would mean that, the bond, the coupon amount of interest could be, let's say, 5%. The par amount of the bond series would total $17 million, but from time to time we have to sell the bonds for more than that to be able to sell it to the public. So what happens is we receive more in proceeds, but and we pay at the coupon amount of interest, so let's say 5%, but we only pay principal up to $17 million. What's happening is the stated rate of interest on the bond coupon is more than the effective rates. So from time to time, we have to do that to make the bonds attractive to people that want to buy bonds.
Okay. Director Kawano, what happens if there's that extra 3 million? Like, what happens to those?
It gets used for other projects that we have to the extent that we have appropriations we have to fill. We will only forward $17 million to HART.
Understood. Okay, any questions, members, relating to this resolution 23-122? Okay, thank you, Director Kawano. We are now with registered testifiers. There's no registered testifiers online or in person. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify? Okay, once again, this was from our ordinance 22-14. Okay, seeing none, members, we are back in discussion. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, the chair recommends that resolution 23-122 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Okay, moving forward, agenda item number 11, resolution 23-124, which authorizes the Director of Budget and Fiscal Services to issue and sell in one or more series not to exceed $15 million principal amount of general obligation bonds of the City and County of Honolulu for financing the amount appropriated in ordinance number 23, Bill 12, 2023, and as may be further amended of the City and County of Honolulu for the purpose of financing capital costs of the Honolulu Rail Transit Project. With us from the administration, we have Director Kawano.
Andy Kawano again for the record. So resolution 23-124 is a request from administration to sell up to $15 million of general obligation bonds of the city for the city subsidy for fiscal year 2024. So it's for next year.
Okay, thank you. So the last one we did was from ordinance 22-14, and then Director Kawano, do we have an ordinance number for this Bill 12, 2023?
I don't believe so, not yet,
Not yet.
because we haven't fully processed the adopted bill.
I haven't fully processed it either. Okay, so with the amount in the Bill 12 as well, though, it's 12 million, I believe.
Yes. So same thing. The amount required to be provided by the city as a city subsidy to rail construction is $12 million for fiscal year 2024. The underwriter has requested that we add some cushion in case we have to sell the bond at a premium. if we don't have to sell the bond at a premium, it'll be sold close to par value.
Okay, and as you mentioned in the last resolution, how 17 million only going to Hart, only 12 million going to Hart for this one,
That's
yeah?
correct, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, looking forward to the ordinance number in the future. I don't know, we would have to make a floor draft to change the title as well as what's in the resolution to be reflected when we do adopt this resolution, hopefully when we adopt this resolution. So hopefully you can work with the council chair since it will be out of the budget committee if we do pass this out.
Will do, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, members, any other discussion? Okay. Okay, seeing none. Did we do registered? Did we do testifiers yet? Okay. We don't have any registered remote or in-person testifiers. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify? We have Angela Melody Young. Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, moving forward. Chair recommends that Resolution 23-124 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion, members? Any objections? Reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. And Chair Waters, please look out for that FD1. I know.
Angela Melody Young. Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair.
Angela, I just passed it out, but I'll give you your minute.
Hello, can you hear me? Keep going once. Can you hear me?
Please proceed, but I already passed it out.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, Angela, I'm gonna stop you. Actually, thank you. We moved forward already. Okay, moving forward. Resolution 23-125, authorizing the Director of Budget and Fiscal Services to issue and sell in one or more series not to exceed $175,545,000 principal amount of general obligation bonds of the City and County of Honolulu to refinance capital costs of the Honolulu Rail Transit Project. With us from the administration, we have Director Kawano, as well as our Executive Director and CEO of Hart, Lori Kahikina.
For the record, Andy Kawano again, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services, City and County of Honolulu. Okay, Resolution 23-125 requests an amount not to exceed $175,545,000 to refund and essentially replace the 2019 Series E general obligation bonds that were sold to fund Hart construction. These bonds in Series E 2019 are subject to a put option that would require at the end of September a payout by the county if the bonds are not if the put's not fully executed. We have the ability to call the bonds for refinance that'll actually lower the interest rate, which is a positive. And the administration recommends that we carry out the call option through this resolution to replace the bonds with bonds that are used to refund it, such that we have a better cost of debt going forward. My understanding is that in 2019, these bonds were sold to take advantage of lower interest rates at the lower end of the yield curve. So for a shorter period of time, the rates were a lot lower than going further out. My understanding that at that time, rates going out towards the 2030 period were much higher. So city administration at that time decided to take advantage of a shorter term with the put option that is tied to the call such that, the bonds could be refinanced. And we're executing now to avoid actually having to pay, the penalty on not executing the put.
Okay, thank you. Members, any questions for Director Kawano? Director Kawano, does a refinancing result in any change to conditions for the bonds?
No, the bonds are replaced. Actually, we'll be better off because, the rates that we're going to enter into through 2030 will be lower than, the rates that we are paying off. So we're going to be in better shape.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Members, any other questions? Also, does Rick Keene have anything from HART to say?
Thank you.
No? Okay, thank you. Members, we are now move on to registered testifiers. Testifiers. We don't have any registered remote testifiers or in-person testifiers. However, we do have Angela Melody Young.
Aloha, Chair. Can you hear me now? Can you give me a hand signal?
Please proceed.
Okay. Testifying in strong support. So I just want to say thank you to Director Lori and their team for their great work, and they did a lot of coordination. And of course, a thank you to Director Kawano for their appropriation of funds. If we want to get a nicer view of the skyline, we're going to have to support the HART stations in development in the urban core of Honolulu. There are 4 more stations opening up after Aloha Stadium. There's the Pearl Harbor, Airport, Lagoon, and Meadow Street. But how it works is it goes in a series, and they did an analysis that if they add 2 more stations, it costs millions more and only saves a few months. And so the last 4 stations comes as a package deal. STG and Hitachi still need to get in at the airport so they can talk back to the HART Center as they're pulling the cables. So it is important to get the monies to reflect the needs of HART. So testifying in strong support of the appropriation of funds.
Thank you very much, Angela. Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to testify? Seeing none. Members, we are back in discussion for this refinance of $175,545,000 for general obligation bonds. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Members, the chair recommends that Resolution 23-125 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving forward to the last item of the agenda. Wow, 13 items, guys. Okay. Resolution 23-104, approving a communications site license agreement to New Singular Wireless PCS LLC for its existing telecommunication facility within the Mililani Mauka District Park, Mililani, Oahu, Hawaii, TMK 9-5-049:020. Members, we have a proposed hand-carried CD1 at OCS 2023-0589/6/19/2023 at 3:02 p.m. submitted by myself that makes the following amendments. A, amends the title to this resolution to approving a communication site license agreement to New Singular Wireless PCS LLC for its existing telecommunications facility within the Mililani Mauka District Park, Mililani, Oahu, Hawaii, tax map key 95049:020, and B, amends the 6th whereas clause to clarify that the Department of Information Technology, rather than the Department of Budget and Fiscal Services, has determined that the feasibility of the license rental fee and references Departmental Communication 407/2023, dated June 15, 2023. So once again, it mentions DIT and not BFS, okay? And C, makes miscellaneous technical and non-substantive amendments. So that's the posted CD1. Okay, members, I know that it's to DIT, but we have from the administration here with us, once again, we have Director Kawano. Anything to say about this?
Andy Kawano again, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services for the record. Yeah, this is a case of learning that I don't have the authority to vary from ordinance with regard to these types of leases, these cell tower leases. The authority rests with DIT, and Director Wong approved our proposal with regard to rent, and then including a 4% increase annually to help the city cover its costs of maintenance of the licensing and the monitoring of the tenant at the space.
Okay, understood. And does DIT get any help from any other agency like yourself?
I think
BFS, I should
for
say.
these cell tower licenses, we work together.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's us and CORE. So CORE is currently doing their legal analysis of the license agreement.
Okay, that's good to hear. Thank you. Okay, we have Council Vice Chair Kia Aina.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your draft. This is a CD1 that clarifies which agency had stated that in the resolution that the existing fee in the revised ordinance is not feasible or equitable. So I guess my question to the administration is, given that, I'm not understanding this. Are you telling me that the proposed fee of $1,000 a month is higher than what would be applicable in the fee table? And how do you reconcile that? How can you, on the one hand, say that it's inequitable or not feasible or equitable, and then still approve it? Can you explain that for me?
I think what we're saying is, the current ordinance doesn't reflect current market conditions for these types of leases. And what we need to do, my recommendation is work together to update ordinance, because there's a table there that
Got it.
restricts,
Okay.
rent or license fee that can be charged, and it's not appropriate right now.
Okay, so that's the challenge.
Yeah.
It's not the fee
Yes.
that's inequitable, it's the fee table, and you're going to be submitting legislation to remedy that. Is that correct?
Yes, I would suggest that you allow me to work with one of the council members to make it happen. In fact,
Okay.
Council Member Dos Santos Tam reached out and said, we should work together to update ordinance so that the fee table and, the increases that can be implemented annually are in updated ordinance.
Okay, whatever it takes, or you can just send it over to Chair Waters and then it go to the appropriate committee of jurisdiction. It's hard for me to be looking at this resolution and you're actually saying that it's not feasible or equitable, and then at the same time you support it. But thank you for your clarification.
Thank you. Members, any other questions for Director Kawano? Okay. And if there's any requests too, maybe we can work with DIT as well on that agreement when they do figure that out as well.
Correct, yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, members, we will now move on to testifiers. We don't have any remote or register. Oh, sorry, just kidding. We don't have any remote testifiers, but we have in-person testifier, Kathy Putt.
Can you hear me okay? Great. Good morning, Chair Cordero, members of the committee. My name is Kathy Putt. I'm here on behalf of Crown Castle, who's a communications infrastructure provider that operates and maintains a communications network here in Honolulu. Thank you for the opportunity to support Resolution 23104, which is the communications site license agreement for the site we refer to as Kapapa. Telecommunications infrastructure, including wireless infrastructure, is integral to daily life, business operations, and government purposes. Wireless connectivity, as you know, is an essential service to everyday lives, and on behalf of Crown Castle, we really appreciate the opportunity to work with the county. Special shout out to Andy Kawano's team. They were great to work with. But we appreciate the opportunity to work with the county to renew this license agreement. Renewal of this agreement will enable us to continue to provide the wireless services that Honolulu residents deserve and expect. We appreciate the opportunity to support this license agreement. Thank you very much.
Members, any questions for Ms. Putt? Any questions relating to the agreement, the cell, communication towers, anything like that? Okay, thank you very much. We don't have any other registered in-person testifiers, but is there anyone else online or in person who wishes to testify? Okay, seeing none. Members, we are back in discussion. Any discussion? Okay. With that, the chair recommends that Resolution 23-104 be amended to the hand-carried CD1. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. The chair then recommends that Resolution 23-104 be CD1 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Members, before we conclude our committee, I would like to kick it over to our Council Vice Chair, Kia Aina, because we did a great thing this morning, but we'd also like to welcome those that we, I'll just kick it over to Council Vice Chair, Kia Aina.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to recognize some leaders of our Ko'olaupoko community, Auntie Rocky Kalahiva, who is here with Mahilani Cipher. And again, Director Kawano, I don't know if you were here when we passed the resolution, but appreciate your support. And this is a perfect example of the city working with communities to on such an important lease. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I know that we did call upon, and I don't know if I'm allowed to do this. Actually, do this, let them talk or no? No? Okay, never mind. Okay, I'll just talk to them outside. Okay, with that, I appreciate all the members for tackling this 13-item agenda with me today at 10:37 a.m. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.